Coach Tim Ryan from the College of Central Florida men's basketball program. Last year, Coach Ryan won the National Junior College National Championships.
Thank you, Chris. Coach Chris asked me to come in and talk to you about hard work, the value of hard work in practice. About 5 months ago, on March 23rd, out in Kansas, Hutchinson, Kansas, my team won a basketball game that made us the national champions. Now that's a great honor. There's over 500 teams that play nationwide, and we were the one team standing alone. We ended up the #1 team in the country. And with that came a lot of accolades. When we got back here, the governor called to congratulate us. This is the first time that our school had accomplished this. In the 66 years that they've played junior college basketball, had a championship, it's only the third time that a Florida team has won it. In fact, it's been over 20 years, way before you guys were born, that the last time a Florida team won it. So it was a pretty big deal. We came back and the sheriff's department had a big police escort for us coming into town. They put our pictures up in a billboard. When we got to town, they had a big celebration for us. The mayor had a parade for us. He gave us this. He gave us the key to the city, which is pretty cool. Restaurants in town, a bunch of different restaurants in town, they had my guys in for celebrations. They had parties for us. The National Junior College Association asked me to go out to Vegas, to Las Vegas, to coach the National All-Star Game. USA Basketball, Coach Krzyzewski, Coach Donovan, Coach Boeheim, they asked me to come out to the Olympic Training Center to coach the top 19 and under players in the country. The National Basketball College Association voted me as the National Coach of the Year. It was a great honor to have all that. All of this because we won this game back on March 23rd. But a lot went into winning that game. There was a lot of hard work and a lot of practice. So I learned at a really young age about working hard. When I was a little guy, I grew up in New York City. I grew up in a housing project. My family barely had money to buy shoes for me. And I learned at a really young age that if I was going to get anything that I wanted in life, I had to work hard for it. Not just hard for it, but I had to work harder than the next guy. And what I learned was that I didn't always get what I wanted when I worked hard. But I learned when I didn't work hard, I never got what I wanted. Never. And that those times that I did get what I wanted were well worth the effort, even when the times that I didn't. When I started working, I was fortunate enough to get a basketball scholarship to college. And when I finished college, I went out into the work world, and I went to work for my brother. And he was a very successful businessman up in Connecticut. And he gave me a job as a salesman in New York City. And my first job was I had to go around to these different businesses in these big buildings and cold call on these guys. That means I went into these offices. I didn't know these guys. And I tried to get them to buy my product, my brother's product. And one of the first days that I was working, I went into this office. And this guy was really friendly to me. He sat me down. We talked for about 45 minutes. We talked about my family. We talked about his family. We talked about sports. And we talked a little bit about my brother's product that I was trying to sell him. And in the end, he said, you know, Mr. Ryan, he says, you're a really nice guy. I want to give you some business, but I don't do a lot of business. But if I ever get any, I'll call you. And I walked out of that office and I said, this guy's a really nice guy. I'm going to come back and see him. And the very next guy I went to go see, this guy kept me waiting in the waiting room for 45 minutes. I was not happy about that. When he came out to meet me, the first thing he said was, I don't have a lot of time for you. This has got to be short. I do a lot of business here, and I have a lot of other guys that are getting my business. The likelihood of me giving you any business is very little. So I gave him my spiel. I walked out. And when I walked out, I said, man, what a jerk. Treat me like that. I'm not going back there. And then I got back to my office, and I had to sit down with my brother, and I told him what happened that day. And he said, are you kidding me? He said, that guy that was a jerk to you is the guy you got to deal with. There's competition there that you have to outwork. If you want to survive, you want to be able to feed your family, you got to go in that office and you got to outwork your competitors. And he said, we're going to do that. And he made some phone calls, and he got us another visit in that office. And he put a presentation together that this guy really liked. He outworked the competitors. And we walked out of that room, that guy had bought some of our product. And he continued to buy our product afterwards. And I learned a lesson that day. Don't be afraid of competition. Just outwork it. My son, I have a son that's 27 years old. When he was 17, he came to me and said, Dad, I want to be a doctor. I was like, that's great. Super. So he wants to go to the University of Florida. So we take him up there for orientation. He gets accepted. We take him up there for orientation. And he's in this major that 90% of the guys want to be doctors. 90% of the guys and girls want to be doctors. So they show him the stats during the orientation of how everybody did in high school, of the kids that are there. Now my son was pretty good, but not like these guys. These guys had unbelievable numbers. You know, like their average GPA was a 4.0, their average SAT score was a 1380. And my son was pretty good, but not that high. So he came out and he had this long face and he said, Dad, I might be over my head here. And I said, Timmy, I said, listen, first of all, half of those guys have no idea how to work. The other half that did do some work in high school, you're going to outwork now. I have no doubt. I knew my son, I knew how hard he could work from the values that we taught him. Well, he's 27 now, and in last May, he graduated from medical school, 9th in his class, which was just, you know, unbelievable day for me. Now I have to walk around calling him doctor. He makes me call him doctor. But he didn't give up. He put that hard work into it. You guys know Billy Donovan, the head coach of Florida. Well, he's a great coach, a great person. What most of you probably don't know is he was a great basketball player. He played for Providence up in Rhode Island. And when he played for them, he led them to the Final Four. But when he was in high school, his dad said to him, his dad saw how he had a desire for this game of basketball. And he said, Billy, I got to sit you down here and talk to you for a minute. He says, I know you have this ambition, you want to reach these goals. But here's the real deal is, you're just an average kid. You're an average kid. Your average size, your average speed, your average ability. If you want to reach those goals, you have to do something extraordinary. And you can, but you have to make that decision that you're willing to put the work in. You're willing to go to work every day and then have a shot at being that good. And the rest is history, what he did. How many of you want to be a good golfer? How many of you want to be a good golfer? Okay. How many of you want to be the best golfer? Okay. We all have dreams and goals. But I noticed everybody didn't raise their hand when I said you want to be the best golfer. You see, if you looked at the guy next to you and thought to yourself, I can't be better than him, then you're doing what 80% of the people do, whether it's sports, business, academics. It's what 80% of the people do in life is they give up because they've already decided in their head. And that's great for the people that don't. Because you see, there's 20% of us that don't care how good you are, we're going to outwork you. So I don't have to worry about 80% of the people. I only have to worry about 20% because 80% of you just gave up. And that is great news for a guy like me. Because I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going hard to try to reach my goals and my dreams. I hope every one of you can reach your goals and dreams. But I can guarantee you, it's going to take a lot of work. And some of you guys will do it. Which one of you will do it? Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Coach.